Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. The trade deadline is today.
It is.
That great thing that never delivers on excitement. But we've already had a few trades that we talked about last week. I believe. I can't remember. We talked about last week, and we had a trade go down this week, so we'll talk about all that in the news. It is Tuesday, October 29th. I got Rick Lemon right across from me.
My name is
Morgan Colby. Today we got a lot to get to. Waiver wire ads, streaming options, quick reactions, all that stuff. We're going to start with the news, but first, make sure you go over our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the FFChamps on Twitter, at the Fantasy Champions on Instagram. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thefantasychampions. Subscribe wherever you listen. Whoa. I completely lost the ability to talk right after I listen. Subscribe wherever you listen. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube. Click the bell on YouTube for notifications. Leave a review. Share this podcast with your friends. Let's get to the news. Brandon Cooks exited Week 8 against the Bengals, and he was evaluated with a concussion. But good news is he's okay. Not that that matters.
No.
He's been absolutely awful. Actually, both Rams wide receivers. You know, I'm surprised more people coming into the season didn't expect this to happen.
I mean, you're looking at one of them.
We said Brandon Cooks wasn't going to be good, but we also said Robert Woods would be good too. So let's hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah, that's true. But
we were right on Cooper Kupp.
My favorite. This was my order was Kupp would be number one.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't agree with that.
Yeah, I got some flack for that.
That was a hot take. But I guess it's not that hot anymore. I don't know how to say his name, Tom Pellisario. I don't even know how I put the names in. He reported that Chase Edmonds is likely to miss a few weeks after suffering a hamstring injury. So we'll get to a little news later as to what the Cardinals are going to do about that. But now you got DJ, who's going to miss basically his third straight game. It's technically his second, but he only had 2 rushes in 3 games ago.
Yeah.
And then now Chase Edmonds is going to miss time. So Arizona's desperate. And I'm going to put you on a cliffhanger for what they're about to do. Royce Freeman suffered a shoulder injury in Week 8 against the Colts. He did return to that game, and I believe he's okay. I haven't seen anything otherwise. It's apparently the same shoulder that he hurt earlier in the season that I think he missed a game because of. So keep an eye on that situation. We'll probably see as the week goes along. Miles Sanders did go down also with a shoulder injury, but he won't miss time, according to Zach Berman from The Athletic. The Buccaneers now are saying that they would consider trading O.J. Howard for a substantial offer.
Wow.
What is a substantial offer? We will never know unless it happens.
Which I don't think it will.
All right, quickly name one team that needs a tight end. Patriots.
Yeah.
I would love that to happen because O.J. Howard is such a talented player in an abyss that doesn't throw the football. I mean, what else are you going to do when you have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin? You can't really throw the football, though.
I mean, they can, but
Yeah,
Jameis Winston wants to throw it to them each 15 times. So.
It's great. Kyle Allen is going to be the starter for the Panthers in Week 9. They said Cam Newton is not ready to go yet.
I've been saying that for like 4 straight weeks.
Yeah. He might. What if he misses the whole season and they just cadoodle this all the way to the end? How long do you go? Like, what's their record?
They were undefeated. While Kyle Allen was the starter up until this week, they got smoked by the 49ers.
Yeah, 51 of, 17?
Yeah,
something ridiculous.
They were undefeated up to that point. I'm going to look up there.
Yeah,
I think I want to say they're
really good. Because they lost.
They are 4-3.
4-3. I was going to say they lost the first 3 games.
I was going to say 5-3.
So, I mean, if they make the playoffs and they don't put Cam Newton back in, is there ever a point in the season where they're like, oh, let's put Cam Newton back in? Like, I think now you kind of look at it and go, oh, Kyle Allen blew this week.
Yeah, but they did play, I think, San Fran. And this week, I don't know if they're playing Tennessee this week.
I believe so.
Yeah, that could be a tough matchup too.
Yeah. Coach John Harbaugh said Marquise Brown is on track to suit up Sunday against the Patriots. I looked at his numbers today because I heard that news, and I was like, this is perfect example of why you don't get too excited. Actually, every single rookie wide receiver is an example this year as to why you don't get too excited when a rookie wide receiver breaks out. Terry McLaurin, to not his own fault, has been generic in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He's been kind of not great. You've had Marquise Brown, who broke out weeks 1 and 2. He's been completely non-existent even before the injury. Mecole Hardman has been the only... I give it to the Chiefs. I don't know what they found a gem. But he's been the only slightly consistent guy. He gets he gets about 8 to 12 points a game. Yeah. Somewhere in that region.
He's been good, but he's
still a rookie wide receiver.
Yeah, he's still not great. Metcalf has been okay. Actually, surprisingly.
Yeah, decent. But it's not. He doesn't get the reason why I saw this metric today. I believe, and I could be wrong on this, and if I'm wrong, please comment below and yell at me on whatever platform, unless you're on a podcast, then you can't comment. But I believe I saw that DK Metcalf had the 3rd most targets for wide receivers in the NFL in the red zone.
He does get targeted a lot in the red zone.
Because he's freaking ginormous.
He had 2 touchdowns this week on 3 catches, I think.
What was the how many fantasy points did he have?
In half PPR, I think it was 15, but I can double check. It was 14.8. So.
Yeah, see, he's getting 2 catches for 2 touchdowns.
He had 5 targets, right?
Yeah.
3 catches for 13 yards.
And 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns, yeah.
So Metcalf, the touchdown upside is there, but I just don't know if the boom is big enough.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Marquise Brown might suit up against the Patriots this week. If you do have him, that's not even an option against the Patriots. Stay away from that. I was going to tell you to sit Odell last week, and I couldn't do it. Couldn't get myself to do it.
I think we did.
We did?
Yeah, I think we did.
No, I thought we said sit Jarvis Landry.
No,
You might have said
I'm pretty sure we
OBJ.
said sit OBJ too.
Okay. Case Keenum is in concussion protocol. The only reason why I say that is because if you are a Terry McLaurin owner, that is not a good sign. No. If he doesn't, he is expected to be the starter week to week. But if he does not play next week, McLaurin has to be on your bench. I don't even know who they play. That's not even a thought.
He's probably on your bench at this point anyway, but unless it's a good matchup.
Coach Bill Callahan said that Darius Geis is on track to suit up in Week 11, and he did practice on Monday. So Darius Geis might make his return finally. I don't think he can come back until Week 11. We talked about that last week. So
do you expect anything from him if he comes
back? With Adrian Peterson hurt and Chris Thompson hurt and no one in that backfield left, he's going to get his opportunity. I thought after game 1 when he played the whole game, and then after the game they were like, oh, he's hurt. After that, I was like, okay, this is not like it was. I can't remember who the Washington played in that game.
It was the first game of the season?
Yeah.
It was Philly.
Yeah, okay. So he had a terrible game against Philly, and I was very discouraged by that. But I think that and the injury might have been the last straw for Washington to be like, okay, we're just going to give it to Peterson rest of season and wait till next year. But with Peterson and Chris Thompson being hurt and Geis coming back in Week 11, if he's the only guy starting, he might actually be okay.
It seems pretty good. He plays the Jets, the Lions, Panthers, Packers, which rank 26th, 30th, 27th, and 25th against the run.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good if he does come back. Is Peterson hurt though? Or is he just...
I think it's just... Well, he did play through his 2 ankle injuries, but we are at week 8, and he has 2 ankle sprains. How much longer is he going to hold up?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Yeah. But Bill Callahan says Darius Geis is on track. Joe Flacco is day-to-day with a neck injury. This means nothing because the Denver Broncos can't move the ball. And the final piece of news that we get is Kenyan Drake finally is freed from the shackles of the Miami Dolphins, and he gets traded. He trades in his leg shackles for arm shackles and goes to the Arizona Cardinals for a 6th-round pick that can become a 5th-round pick. But if you're the Arizona Cardinals and have another top 3 pick, that's basically a 4th-rounder. So they got what they wanted.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, I'll just touch on Mark Walton for a second, and then we can talk about the Kenyan Drake trade. Mark Walton is expected to take over as the lead back for Miami. Kalen Ballage blew after all the hype surrounding him, and he got hurt. So Mark Walton is the guy in Miami now. Should Mark Walton be owned?
In deep leagues, sure.
Okay, so there is a plethora of individuals in the fantasy football community, who I fully respect, that will tell you to go out, get Mark Walton, and put him on your bench and potentially start him on good matchups. Don't do that. Please, for the love of God, don't do that. I think Mark Walton should be owned just for the opportunity. Just for the opportunity.
That's why I was saying.
He should not touch your starting lineup until he proves that he can be anywhere close. I don't care if he has a good matchup or not. He should be sitting on your bench until he proves that he can actually be relatively
since
decent.
He's on the Miami Dolphins, I'm not starting him anyway because I have had that rule all season.
Don't start Miami Dolphin. But, tell me what Miami Dolphin this year has been somewhat worth a start.
No, none of them.
Outside of, Kenyan Drake was a good start for, maybe 2 weeks where he got, 10 points for your flex, maybe. Devontae Parker, maybe. But it's this offense, A, is not going to get in the red zone. B, they're a terrible offensive line. And C, their running game hasn't been good. Yeah, Mark Walton has shown some form of efficiency in a low level. Mm-hmm. But I just look at Mark Walton and I think, what makes you think this guy is going to outperform Kenyan? You know what I'm saying? They didn't like Kenyan Drake. They tried with Ballage. It didn't work. Now Mark Walton comes in. What circumstance changed to make it so that Mark Walton could be really good?
There isn't one. Unless you consider Fitzpatrick.
Now, we could look like complete fools. We do pre-record this show on Monday night. So if he's absolutely dominating on Monday Night Football, we were very wrong. But in hindsight's always 2020. But I just don't. I think Mark Walton at best could get you 12 to 15 points.
No, that's at best. I agree.
I just don't. Touchdown upside, he'd probably get 50, 60 yards a game. There's just not. He's the guy, but he's the guy in a really, really awful offense. And it's you can be excited all you want. It's the same thing with Darius Geis. How much opportunity is the guy going to get when he does come back? If he does get the full main share, he obviously needs
Peterson
to be owned. But it's if he gets 15 to 20 touches a game, he has to be owned. But what is he going to do with those 15 to 20 touches? It's not like he's going to come in and be an absolute monster and, he's just...
Yeah.
Mark Walton is not Saquon Barkley, and Darius Geis is not Saquon Barkley. Barkley is the only man in the NFL that could go on a freaking awful team and do what he does.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, Mark Walton should be owned, but with your last bench spot. Kenyan Drake, now moving to Arizona. If he is on your waiver wire, go pick him up. I'm going to say, we'll say that now because this is the waiver wire show. We'll just say pick up Kenyan Drake now for the sake of argument. If there's somebody that in your league, like myself, who waited, I picked him up purely because I wanted to wait to see if he got traded.
And
the goal was...
Psychopath held on to him for 6 weeks.
I dropped him, and then somebody else picked him up, started him, and then dropped him. And then I picked him up and held on to him for 2 more weeks.
Okay, I thought you had him that whole time.
No. There was a period. I think it was after week 3. I was done with the Dolphins altogether, and I just dropped him. But I picked him up as a speculative ad going for it. So now, going forward on the Arizona Cardinals, what is the expectation?
If David Johnson is hurt and Chase Edmonds is out for a while,
right?
Then it's all it's good. He should be.
It's cute.
It's cute. It's cool, but. Right now, what David Johnson's day-to-day?
Yes, that's what they said.
So they play Thursday night, I think, against San
David
Francisco.
Johnson's not playing this week.
Right. But the problem is, so if Kenyan Drake's here for 1 week, right? Essentially, he'll be here the whole season.
Yeah, right.
He's here to play a lot for 1 week while both the running backs are out. They're playing San Francisco, so he's not going to be worth a start.
Right.
So the only way I think he'll be worth a start is if David Johnson is out for a significant period of time.
I agree with that.
So he should be on your team, obviously, and he should be on your bench, but I wouldn't...
See, Now, the reason why I kept him is because I was hoping that he would get traded to Detroit.
That would have. Well, I mean, knowing Detroit, they would have used 5 running backs anyway.
No, I know that. If there was anybody that they could get that was going to be the new Kerryon Johnson for 8 weeks,
it could have been.
It would be Kenyan Drake.
Yeah.
So for me, I think personally, I've been toiling with this all day because I have no idea. Cliff Kingsbury has been known to give us no information and lie straight to the media's face about everything. I feel like, and I could be wrong, I feel like this has some kind of, like there is something wrong with David Johnson to the point where they felt like they needed to give up a 5th round pick, because that's ultimately what this is going to turn into. A 5th round pick for Kenyan Drake. To me, there are guys that you could just sign outright without giving up your draft picks to get for the same price.
Yeah.
They're paying him $1.2 million. So it's like, if for that same exact price, you could get literally anybody
for free.
Like they worked out Jay Ajayi, unless Ajayi was like, if you're going to sign me for 2 weeks and cut me, I don't want to be here. And then, you know what I mean? Obviously that he can't come to an agreement. But there's somebody out there that could come in, play for 3 weeks while Chase Edmonds is hurt with a hamstring injury, take over that role as the second running back while David Johnson, comes back. Like, you got 1 week. To me, I don't trade a 5th round pick for 1 week. I trade a 5th round pick for
rest of the season.
So it's like, not that a 5th round pick is innately valuable, but to NFL GMs
for a running back,
that's a lot. Like.
Yeah.
It's basically
not necessarily a lot, but it's like
basically a 4th round pick because they're going to have a top 3 pick in the draft anyway. It's their own 5th round pick. So it's like basically right out of the 4th round. I don't know, bro.
Cardinals are 3-3.
I'll flip. Yeah, that's right.
But they're also in the division with the Rams.
It might actually be somebody else's pick, but I'm not entirely sure. But I just feel like there's something wrong with David Johnson that they're not telling us.
It feels that way because it's so quiet and weird. The whole situation with David Johnson.
He's day-to-day. What the hell does that mean? What's actually wrong with him? Last week it was a back injury. This week it's an ankle injury.
Right,
what is actually wrong?
It seems like where there's smoke, there's fire. So that's why I would say, like, you keep your eye on the situation, let it play out with Kenyan Drake. But
if he does, let's play with the reality that there is the possibility that that David Johnson goes on IR.
Okay.
What is the value for Kenyan Drake at that point? Even with, assuming Chase Edmonds does come back in like 3 weeks.
I'm going to look at their schedule because I think that would play a part. And they have to... It's not good. They play San Fran twice, but I guess, right. I mean, that's including this week. Tampa, which is third against the run this year. Then they would have a bye. The Rams, and now at Jalen Ramsey, that defense is very good. Mm-hmm. Then you got Steelers in Cleveland, which isn't too bad, and then at Seattle, week 16. He has a ceiling because of that schedule, but he could be like a weekly flex option.
Yeah.
If David Johnson's on IR.
Yeah. I just don't know. I want to see, not that I want David Johnson to go on IR because I never want that, but I don't have any shares of David Johnson.
And so you have really Kenyan Drake.
And I have Kenyan Drake. But I want to see Kenyan Drake actually used. Like, he doesn't even need to be the workhorse. Just give him 15 touches a game, which is something that the inept idiots that have been coaching the Miami Dolphins for the last 4 years, or however long he's been in the friggin' NFL, that they have just not done. It's clear that he has the talent. He turned a toss in the Miami Miracles, whatever you want to call it, into like 45 yards by juking 5 guys. Like, he completely just destroyed that play. He's just really talented, but you haven't. No, at first, I don't know if there's something wrong with, like, it doesn't seem like there's a character issue with him. Yeah. So, like, I don't really know why they don't like him. Maybe he has, like, a work ethic problem.
The Dolphins pretty much did everything they could to not make him the starter this year.
Yeah, that was this year, last year, and like the entire time he's been in the NFL. Like, if they think he's injury prone, then fine. That has been the consensus for a lot of people. That has been an opinion in the fantasy football community.
But that's not why you don't play someone.
People have said, oh, this guy just gets hurt.
Yeah.
He gets hurt all the time. I don't want him for fantasy because he gets hurt all the time. I don't want him in real life because he gets hurt all the time. The reality is, if you look at Kenyan Drake, he's never missed a game in his NFL career. Like, What makes you like? Yes, he's been hurt. Like in the preseason, he had that ankle injury and he was hurt. Like, what makes you think that he's played in every game he's ever had to be a part of? So, like, why are you saying that there's injury problem? I just don't. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
I guess we'll see if there is a problem. It'll probably come.
Yeah, it'll come out in Arizona. Yeah. Like if there really is. But I really do think that the Miami Dolphins coaching staffs, both of them, with Adam Gase and with
Brian
Flores, are just completely inept. Like they're so stupid. Look at the Dolphins right now. They're a complete disaster. They're a dumpster fire. Who knows? Maybe next year they'll be good. It'll be like John Gruden all over again. But like, I just don't know. I can't. I don't understand what. Like you have a talented player. You're not winning football games unless you decided in the preseason that you were going to tank. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Kenyan Drake, I'm curious to see him on Thursday Night Football. Adam Schefter reported that he's going to get a full workload. I wouldn't play him unless you desperately needed a start.
Yeah, that San Francisco defense has been
I'm nervous. They're not going to play Zach Zenner a lot. They're not going to play the other guy whose name escapes me a lot. So, and they're like...
No, Kenyan Drake, he should get a lot of action.
Well, the other thing is, too, is David Johnson was completely inefficient on the ground. And if Kenyan Drake shows any form of efficiency on the ground, then he might actually be a decent play. But the real part is going to be they throw 50 passes a game, so it's something ridiculous. But he's going to be utilized like David Johnson in the passing game, and he's he's one of the best pass catching running backs in the NFL. So it's like utilizing him in that aspect is going to be good for fantasy, I guess. But there's also another rumor floating around too that I was going to throw it to you and see if you could, if you believe it or not. I guess we'll find out today if you're listening to this podcast at 4:00 for the trade deadline. I believe it's at 4:00. But they're saying that they traded for this is a conspiracy theory. They traded for Kenyan Drake because they want to move forward with Drake and Edmonds and trade David Johnson for like picks or something like that.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
If that happened, though, that would be...
I actually don't That is not a stupid thing to do if you're Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah.
Because David
Fantasy-wise, everybody would hate it because now it's another split backfield.
So I'm curious like where he would go. There's like ultra conspiracy theories that Los Angeles would trade Melvin Gordon to Detroit, and then David Johnson would get traded to the Chargers and all.
That's a Madden.
Yeah, that's Madden deals. But I'm not going to play
too
with
much.
that. But if they do trade David Johnson to go for it, the problem is that you can't see Kenyan Drake before you have to make the ultimate decision to get rid of David Johnson.
Yeah,
but he's not in a contract year, right?
Who, David Johnson?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
But anyway,
sure though.
That's enough time on Mark Walton and Kenyan Drake. Let's just quickly go over some reactions from the week. Okay. Some quick reactions. Did you have anything you wanted to start with?
For quick reactions,
dude,
just for my own fantasy team, Austin Hooper, man. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. Matt Schaub, Matt Ryan. Matt Stafford, it wouldn't matter.
Listen, we truthed on Austin Hooper when a lot of fantasy people didn't.
Yeah.
And that is not a brag. I actually started fading away from
you clown
Austin Hooper at the end. I still drafted him, and then I cut him for Austin Hooper, which, I mean, I guess...
Darren
Waller, I'm sorry. I didn't really lose all that much, but I didn't... So at the end, the reason why I backed off him is because I thought he was the third or fourth option in the offense behind even Sanu.
Yeah.
And... So, like, if you're the fourth option in the passing game, like, you're not really going to get... But he's improved.
Yeah, he's honestly been the second option behind Julio all year.
Oh, yeah,
like,
definitely.
He consistently gets, like...
And with...
Like, about 8 to 9 targets a game.
I think Calvin Ridley returned to the game. He had a concussion, and then he returned to the game later. I'm not sure if he's still... I'm not
He didn't miss a lot of time. I was watching that game. He only missed...
Oh, he didn't?
He only missed, like, a
I was going to say, if he's in concussion protocol, he might miss a week. So
I'm pretty sure he was fine.
Hooper might be a great play this week.
They're on a bye, unfortunately.
Oh, frick. All right, so anyway, Hooper's been... He's number one right now, right?
Yeah.
Fantasy?
I don't think it's... Actually, it might be close.
Kelsey's 2.
Who's 3?
Waller.
The Wallers.
And Ertz and Kittle are nowhere to be found. Hooper's been crazy. Mike Evans had 37 fantasy points or something ridiculous like that. So Mike Evans is a common boomer bust at this point.
He'll get 40 or 37, or he'll get.
So the problem is that you can't not start him. You have to put him in your lineup every week just because of that. But like, if you just took the 3 games away, right? I'm curious to see that. I want to do that. Figure out what number he would be at. If you take his 3 big games away, he's basically one of the worst.
He's this year's Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, essentially. But it's like, and then you see the consistency of like Chris Godwin in the slot. They just keep targeting him and targeting him and targeting him.
Well, he said 4 good games and then 3 bad ones. So it's not like it's.
But it's just like, you got to start him every week. But Mike Evans keeps ripping your soul out. Tevin Coleman had 36.
He was the guy that beat me this week.
Yeah. Oh my word. Yeah, I told you before, you weren't really in on Coleman because you were like Mostart and
I thought there was too many
Matt Breida. I told you, I said Tevin Coleman in the first game, he was getting like 65-70% of the work. And
I mean, you know what though? They split carries.
No, Matt Breida, yeah, they are splitting carries, but Coleman has been he's
better.
So much better in Kyle Shanahan's offense.
Matt Breida, I think, is better in the passing game. And I think that does help that Coleman knows the Shanahan offense.
Yep.
But yeah, I would not have expected freaking Tevin Coleman to get 37 points.
Now tell me what you think of the Tyrell Williams touchdown streak.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Raise your hand.
It's like this year's Tyler Lockett.
It is.
There was a lot of people that dropped him.
I know. I was so surprised. I looked at his ownership numbers and I was like, "Holy mackerel!" Why?
I was thinking the same thing. People were like, "Oh, he's just not worth it." There's guys I want on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
I mean, he has scored in half PPR every single week at least 10 points this year.
Right.
Double digits.
It's ridiculous.
He's been fantastic. He's a wide receiver too.
Right.
Week to week.
This is, I guess, breaking news.
Okay.
I won't hit the button though. It's not that exciting. Matt Ryan is expected to play week 10 after the bye.
Oh, so, I got that alert like 5 hours ago.
All right. I didn't put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, I mean, what is this a moment to sell high on Tevin Coleman?
Oh, I would.
Yeah, because
but
that's what I was thinking. Like, maybe you should just go out and try to just fleece that guy.
I would try to.
Tevin Coleman.
I would try to do that. Yeah. But it's not the end of the world if you have to keep him because I mean they're gonna run the ball a lot this year. They have all year.
Yeah.
Like Coleman's gonna be good. I think he's not gonna get 36,
right?
But he can get like 13, 15 a week.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that at all. David Ma opportunity.
Finally, you've been waiting for this
as the fantasy footballers call him, David Ma opportunity.
July.
I have been waiting. I have loved David Montgomery since the Bears drafted him. And I'm not even lying. I freaking love David Montgomery. Now, he had 22 fantasy points. He had 27 carries for 140-something yards.
31 touches.
Yeah, so they decided that David Montgomery was going to be their feature. Now, I didn't put David Montgomery. We didn't put David Montgomery on our trade targets list for tomorrow's episode. I just want to preface that. But I do think you guys should go out and trade for him.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because next week you can wait a week because next week he's gonna be bad against Philly. I promise. I promise. But after that, his schedule is awful. He probably has the best schedule of running backs left. It's bad. There's not one team I look at and I go, I'm nervous about. So if this breakout game has any truth to it, you're going to see an Aaron Jones, Chris Carson-like breakout in the second half of the year. Remember last year? They were trash beginning of the season. Second half of the year, good schedules.
It's possible.
Aaron Jones. And I just feel like it's a perfect opportunity right now. You can, after 22 points, I'm not sure you can buy him low right now. But if he's on a team that is kind of done with his 9 points a game, and you can go to him and offer something like a wide receiver 2 and get David Montgomery, you might be able to pull that off and get a second half of the season league winner almost. If he does end up doing that in the second half of the year. I know last year in our league, you desperately were looking for that flex. Yeah. And you found it in Chris Carson, and that won you a championship. So it's like that and having Christian McCaffrey.
And Barkley.
And Patrick Mahomes. Well, let's not talk about it. But yeah, I think that's. You have anything else you want to talk about on quick reactions before we get into the waiver wire additions?
I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. I think I spelled Tyrell Williams wrong.
You did.
All right. Let's go into our waiver wire ads for week 9. This is what you came here for. This gets boring. This gets more boring every week. But there's more and more people getting added. So we talked about it a little bit earlier. Let's start off with Mark the Walton. You want to add him?
Yes, I think he's worth an ad.
Okay. I'll say yes. He's owned in 18% of leagues. Anybody that has opportunity is worth an ad. But as far as opportunity, like I talked about in the offseason, I talked about my and our equation of opportunity plus efficiency equals, production. So
yeah.
Mark Walton ain't going to do the efficiency part too well with a bad offense. So there's a lot of variables to teams, and right now, like I have been avoiding Miami Dolphin players, even though like Devontae Parker is not a bad ad, but at the same time, he's not a good ad either. It's not like like for me at this point in the year, if you're 4-4, 5-3, or even the other way, 3-5, right? Mm-hmm. If you're at that region, you have a good chance. You can make a run at the playoffs. Once you get to the playoffs, you got to start thinking league winners. You got to start thinking schedules. You got to start thinking all of that stuff. And when I look at Mark Walton, like, does that make you feel like good inside? Like, I'm going to get a league winner. That's just really. I need to get through this week, and I have no running backs on my bench, and Zeke Elliott's on a freaking bye week. So get me some Mark Walton in my lineup. You know what I mean? That's kind of what he is at this point. So there's no real opportunity to start.
You know who's an interesting one that is number 1 on this list actually is Rashaad Penny.
Yes.
So he's been in some rumors too.
Trade rumors.
Yeah, where
also to Detroit.
That would be interesting. Is he worth a pickup just for that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Speculative. I'm so mad because I want to, but I can't because I got too many players on my team.
Yeah. It's tempting. I think that could be an interesting one.
Yeah, he's only 38% of leagues right now. So people are totally done with him.
Yeah, which makes sense because he's getting like 5 carries a game.
The problem that I face with Rashaad Penny is that if he tomorrow gets traded, or today gets traded, Rashaad Penny will become the hottest waiver wire ad out there, and you're going to see, if you have a 200 waiver budget league, like you're going to see people drop $100 for this guy easy. Yeah. So it's like, I depending. So let's play the game. Rashaad Penny gets traded to. I'll just throw out teams that need running backs. I think that need running backs at this point. Rashaad Penny goes to Tampa. How much waiver budget?
There's still too many guys in that backfield, so I wouldn't do too much. But I would obviously try to pick him up.
Okay, he gets traded to. If he gets traded to KC, all of it. Yeah, I'd probably give all of it.
I'd give a lot of it to KC. Yeah, if he gets traded to the Lions, I'd give like
a lot,
$100.
I'd probably put. Yeah, I would. I was gonna say I'd put like 75.
Yeah,
but so the problem is just keep an eye on to me, if Rashaad Penny does not get traded, do you want to pick him up?
If he does not get traded?
Yes.
If he stays on the Seahawks?
Because we're going to know that before waivers go through.
Yeah, no, I'm not picking him up.
Okay, so if he gets traded today, pick up Rashaad Penny. Be cautious with what you have left of your waiver budget, but like it's worth it. Somebody will drop somebody stupid for Rashaad Penny, so be sure you're watching on Wednesday afternoon when your waivers go through.
That's true. Because all they care about is Penny's on the Lions.
Let's go.
And then I don't care who I drop. I'm just gonna drop somebody so I have a spot. And then they drop like.
I like that one though. That Rashaad Penny is a great ad, great speculative one. If you have a free agent system and he's out there, like snack him now.
Oh yeah,
like,
do it
grab him now. Darrell Henderson right now is owned in 25% of leagues. I believe he's been in this segment of our show before. He and Todd Gurley have been slowly hitting that. I believe the snap percentage was 60 to 40 this week.
Really?
So is Darrell Henderson now worth a full ad? Because he's shown that he can be relatively decent. I mean, he's not he's not inept. Like he looked inept in the preseason. He looked bad. He looked completely. Yeah, he looked like a mess.
If the snap percentages keep changing like that, I think he is worth an ad.
Yeah.
In my league, I'm probably still not adding him.
No, probably not. I would. I would not. Just.
I would rather add the first two guys we talked about over Darrell Henderson.
Yeah. Right.
But I mean, if you need the running back depth and the way things are going, he actually had more carries than Todd Gurley this week. So
yeah, he had
only by one, but
he had 13 touches for 69 yards.
That's pretty good.
And no touchdowns. He ended with 7.5 PPR, 7.9 fantasy points. I think the biggest cap to Darrell Henderson and the problem with him is that unless a Gurley misses a specific amount of time, Todd Gurley's going to get all of the red zone work, all of it. It's not even going to be like we'll throw him out there for one or two. No, he's going to get all of it.
Yeah.
So Darrell Henderson is going to be very capped on touchdowns. He might finish the season, at least in the second half here, with a good amount of yardage, like 600-700 yards on the season. But I just don't think, especially if they're working with the split, I just don't think he's going to have the touchdown opportunity to throw him over the top enough to be a starter in your lineup or even a low-end bench option. But I would add him now before he has the game where he scores one touchdown and everyone's like, oh my God, then they spend their entire waiver budget on him.
Yeah.
So that's Darrell Henderson for you. Alexander Mattison, our weekly plug for him.
Just a handcuff.
Dalvin Cook is getting more and more touches and more injury opportunities. So just make sure you have Alexander Mattison on your team. Now, assuming Detroit doesn't trade for a running back, in the disaster that Detroit's backfield was, do you want Trey Carson? I'm not even sure if I said that right.
No.
He started.
I don't want...
ripped people's souls out.
The Lions...
I spent $100 in waiver budget in one league that I was just screwing around in.
Yeah.
For Ty Johnson. That was so stupid.
If the Lions do not trade for a running back today...
Yeah.
I am not picking up any Lions running backs.
Okay.
I don't want any of them. Because I feel like they're just going to rotate all of them.
Is there any running back that you were interested in acquiring for this week's waiver?
Other than the guys we just talked about, not really.
Okay. I just wanted to check one more thing before we move on.
What you checking, boss?
The only other guy that I would say is Mostert.
You would?
I don't know that I would add him, no. I would say no.
Okay. Were you just looking at something?
I was looking at his numbers for this week.
And they weren't good.
No, he had 12 points.
Oh, okay.
But in a backfield where you have like three running backs,
yeah
that's not good. He had nine attempts, 60 yards, and a touchdown.
So this actually makes me more concerned about Coleman. Because
it's like, let me change my mind.
Coleman had 11 carries.
Yes.
Matt Breida had 11 carries. And Mozart had 9.
What the hell are they doing?
They're using a 3-headed monster.
I don't like that.
I don't like that.
Okay, so the only other guy that I'll say is James Conner is very injury prone. So and I think Jalen Samuels is worth a roster spot.
Okay.
I think he's worth a roster. He's only under 14.9% of leagues. So just be aware of that. Let's move to wide receivers. The number one guy on the list, A.J. Brown, caught a touchdown pass, had 2 receptions for 13 yards and a touchdown. Let's go, A.J. Brown. Yeah, I know. It's kind of gross. Now, a lot of people are, the A.J. Brown truthers are taking laps around the Corey Davis truthers right now. So, as a Corey Davis truther, how does this make you feel?
I've kind of given up now.
I told you to give up weeks ago. Now, we had this,
but then the Ryan Tannehill thing happened, and it gave me hope again, and then
it just ripped
right out.
Yep.
I mean, Tannehill only threw for 193 yards.
Ryan Tannehill.
He threw the ball a lot.
Yeah.
They both had... So, Corey Davis and A.J. Brown both blew. They each had 2 catches.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown had 2 more yards. The only difference was he had a touchdown.
That's so ridiculous. Yeah, he threw... What's his name? Ryan Tannehill threw for 300 yards. Who the frig did he throw it to?
No, not this week.
Oh, he didn't?
This week he only threw 193.
Oh, never mind. Forgive me. Yeah, is A.J. Brown worth an ad?
Yeah, I guess.
Don't sound too excited.
I'd rather the guy we're gonna talk about next, I think.
Okay. Let me just note a couple of things. So this guy is way down on this list, but Darius Slayton had 22 fantasy points this week for the New York Giants.
He did.
Is he worth an ad to you?
Not really, because I think when Sterling Shepard comes back in that whole offense, it's going with Golden Tate. There's too many guys. Evan Ingram.
Too many guys. He's owned in 7.5% of leagues. If Sterling Shepard does not come back in the next couple weeks, he might be. I'm curious the schedule, because he might be worth even that. He had like 2 touchdowns for 50 yards and 2 receptions. It's gross.
Yikes.
And then Chris Conley had a really nice day for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 7 targets, 4 receptions, 103 yards, and a touchdown. DJ Chark on the other side of that had a really good game as well. But Chris Conley, here's my problem: is Jacksonville's offense is either really good or really not.
Blows, yeah.
So it all like kind of hinges on what Leonard Fournette does on the ground. So I really don't know if he's worth an ad at this point. He's owned in 6.4% of leagues. He had 7 targets. That's the big thing. Is like you can't look straight past that. The last 2 weeks against Cincinnati and New York, he's had 7 targets in each game.
Yeah, and what I will say about Conley. Hold on, I'm just looking at something.
Wow, take your time.
Sorry. Well, I was looking at D.D. Westbrook got hurt.
Okay.
This past week, and if he's out for a significant period of time, that pretty much just leaves DJ Chark and Chris Conley, right?
Yeah.
So he should be, I think, worth an ad if D.D. Westbrook, especially if Westbrook is out for.
Yeah, because against Cincinnati and New York, he had 11 and 18.
Yeah. So. I mean, we'll see how it plays out.
I would say he's worth an ad. And then the only other guy, as far as this week, you saw Renfro, the Renfro Truthers live. And then I did want to talk about this guy before we get to some of the guys that you're thinking of. Alex Erickson, who we made fun of last week. We just totally roasted him.
Yeah.
And then he has 12 points this week on 7 targets. So he in the last 3 weeks, he's had 6 targets, 14 targets, and 7 targets. And against Jacksonville, he had 17 points. Against LA, he had 12. This week, he's on a bye week. So you might be able to, I don't know who's going to pick him up this week. So you might be able to get away with not picking him up. But after that, he's playing Baltimore, Oakland, Pittsburgh, New York, and Cleveland before he plays New England and then Miami. So there's like one hard game left in that grouping. Maybe Pittsburgh is a hard game, but does Auden Tate even play anymore? Or
I have no idea. I really don't.
I don't like. All of a sudden, Alex Erickson came out of nowhere. In the last 3 weeks, he's been targeted. So I really don't know. Is he worth an ad?
I don't understand what's going on with the Bengals.
I feel like we played this game with the Bengals wide receivers before.
We have. I don't know if he's worth an ad because I just hate everything about the Bengals right now. But
he's like,
the way he's been playing, I guess you have to, right? No, you don't have to, but if you need,
if you have a roster spot and you need receivers and your league is like right now, here's the problem, and this is the problem with the wide receiver position, is that there are so many available that are better than Erickson that it's not really worth a large ad. You know what I mean? It's not like, I'm gonna run out there. Like I just said, he's gonna be buried in your waiver wire when tomorrow runs through and it's not showing you projections because he's on a bye week. So you might even be able to get away with waiting a week and then picking him up for his matchup the following week. So it's like, I would wait and see what happens. There's other stuff out there, but we'll see. He's only owned in 4.5% of leagues, so it's not like you're rushing to the waivers to grab him.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Cole Beasley. He's owned in 25% of leagues. Beasley has been okay. He has the easy schedule at the end of the year. He does have to play Denver and Dallas at some point, and Week 16 against New England. But he does have some easier matchups in there.
He's probably my favorite receiver right now that we've talked
on the waivers.
About. Yeah, on the waivers.
He had the last 2 weeks 6 targets against Miami and 7 targets against Philadelphia. The My problem is he just has these like he'll get like 9 targets and then have 4. It's like what the freaking crap just happened?
That is annoying. But I feel like the last few weeks. I mean, even like so, if you take out the week 5 game against Tennessee, he would have had since week 3 10 targets, 13, 6, 7, which is pretty good.
Not bad at all.
And then half PPR, that's like 10, 11, 10 essentially, and then 11. So he's putting up okay numbers, and then like you said, his schedule is pretty easy. So I think if he's out there, he's only owned right now in 7% of leagues on NFL.com.
On NFL.com.
I think he would be worth an ad.
Yeah, I think he's worth an ad as well. Anybody that's getting the target share, at least a minute amount of it, like. See, what I look at on the waiver wire is you're not really going to hit a guy that gets like 10 to 12 targets a game. Usually that's owned. But if you're talking about a guy that's getting 7 or 8 targets a game, that's worth adding, especially if something happens. There's an injury or, you know what I mean? Like if John Brown went down, he would be the number 1 target in that offense right away.
Yeah.
So he's got an easy couple weeks, I guess. I would add him, yeah. What about Devontae Parker, Preston Williams? Are you interested in any of the Miami Dolphins receiver core?
No.
Okay. He's like, no. Alan Lazard has been somebody that people have talked a lot about. Not really interested. And Anthony Miller has like these boom games, and then he has these bust games. Not interested in him either. What about Deontay Johnson? He has a really good connection with what's-his-face? Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph, yeah.
So Deontay Johnson could be a good ad.
Yeah, he's an okay ad.
But he's a rookie. That's my problem.
He has ceiling.
I don't believe in rookies. And then Hardman, surprisingly, is owned in 31% of leagues still.
He should be picked up.
Yeah, I think you should pick him up. Pick him up and put him on your team. Is there anyone else you really wanted to desperately talk about?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right, hey, let's
well, actually, one quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
If Robbie Anderson gets traded, I think Demaryius Thomas should be picked up.
Okay, that's fine with me. Let's talk about tight ends. All right, let's move on. So Darren Fells has been a little bit ridiculous the last couple weeks.
He had 2 touchdowns, didn't he?
He keeps having these like 2 touchdown games or 1 touchdown games, and I'm just like, stop being good. You're faking people out. I think now when we see the Texans have a good matchup for tight ends, we just gotta say Darren Fells. We gotta let it go.
You know, for the season where he ranks among tight ends,
number 8.
PPR? Yeah, number 8.
He's like friggin' 30 years old, 35, something ridiculous like that.
Six targets,
6 receptions. Yeah, like
I mean, he had a great week. Is he gonna do that again? Probably not.
No, probably not. Very interesting.
Is he? I mean, he should be owned. He's the 8th.
Who does he play next week?
He plays
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. That's not good.
Yeah, Adam, why not?
Last time he played Jacksonville, he had 3 targets and 1 catch.
Why the frig not?
Yeah, I think he's definitely worth it.
And then in Tennessee, with Delaney Walker out, Jonnu Smith has been relatively decent. He's had, I don't know when Delaney Walker went out, but the last 2 weeks he's had 7 and 16. He's Carolina this week, so if you're still streaming tight ends, which I don't think a lot of people.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah, best of luck to you. Jonnu Smith's not a good play this week. I would just let him slide. I'm not really interested. Herndon, did he even play?
Nope, he did not.
He still has not played.
So he...
Every week, just throw him on the list. Chris Herndon, the 4th.
Even when he's playing, and if he's doing good or bad, doesn't matter. We're going to keep him on this list.
We're going to keep him on this list. 10 years from now, we're going to be doing this podcast, and we're going to tell you to pick up Chris Herndon. Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert.
Yeah. He's been better than Zach Ertz.
He's been better than Zach Ertz the last few games. There is rumors floating around the rumor mill. Because it's, trade deadline day, that the Zach Ertz might be traded from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ew.
If he is traded, Goedert is a must-add. Because I would assume that he would turn into Zach Ertz almost.
Pretty much, yeah.
He's talented. He's really good. There's no reason to have him and
Philly
Zach
does
Ertz
like
on the
to
roster.
use
They like
two
to use
tight
two
ends,
tight ends,
yeah.
The problem with Dallas Goedert is that he's going to be a boom.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this guy's really great.
I had a great week,
or he'll have no catches. So for him, he's not targeted. He's not like worked in that offense that much.
But yeah, the Zach Ertz thing is interesting if he does get traded.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how much truth there is to that. That might just be also
if Zach Ertz doesn't get traded, which is the more likely scenario. I don't know if he's worth a pick.
Hey, like I said, if you were desperate for a tight end and everyone else is owned in your league, all the people we just mentioned are owned. Go ahead.
Yeah,
feel free. That'll do it for our waiver wire ads. We're going to talk about some QB streamers and then wrap up the show. I'm going to give you my QB streamer. Rick will give his QB streamer, and then we'll just close it out. So I got Jimmy Garoppolo.
He's a good one.
In Arizona, but I feel like it's all right.
Even though they've run the ball nonstop.
I don't know. Hey,
Jimmy G is just...
Their number.
It's a good matchup.
They've given up the number 4th most fantasy points to quarterbacks, so I'm going to say Jimmy G is a good start against Arizona.
So Arizona's giving up the 4th most quarterbacks? You know who's giving up the 6th most?
Who?
It's the Detroit Lions, and you know who plays the Lions this week?
Who?
You're going to hate me, Derek Carr.
Oh,
dude,
God.
Derek Carr, I know.
We're giving
crazy.
some bad fantasy advice today.
We're streaming quarterbacks, okay?
Yeah.
Which means Derek Carr is probably going to be available in your league. Not probably. He's like guaranteed.
No, definitely.
Much, in a 10-team, 1-quarterback league. Or a 12-team even. So Derek Carr's out there, and you're looking to stream guys. He might be the best play. He had 26 points last week.
Yeah.
He has his number 1 receiver back in Tyrell Williams, who he's missed for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Other than the Chiefs, like the first six games of the season, he didn't really have a good matchup.
Yeah.
Prior to this week where he had 26 points, now he's playing the Lions, another good matchup at home.
Right.
I can see 20 points from Carr this week.
Wow. There you go. I'm also going to throw in Matt Stafford there. If the person
he's probably owned now.
If he picked up if a person picked up Matt Stafford and they're refusing to drop him now, frick you, and frick me too. But if Matt Stafford is available or he gets dropped, I would pay attention on Thursday too, because I think he's actually probably a better start than Jimmy Garoppolo or Derek Carr.
Yeah, if he's still out there.
If he's still out there. So wait till Thursday, see if he gets dropped, and then pick him up. He's a great streaming option for this week. But that'll do it for our waiver wire ads and streaming options. Be sure to listen tomorrow as we discuss booms and busts for Week 8 and go over players you should buy. Don't forget to check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Talk to you Thursday, Fantasy Champs.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter at TheFFChamps.